Hey guys, so I'm super excited to start this journey of prayer with you guys. I'm super excited because the next couple of videos I'm going to be doing a little bit of a series on prayer, and it's something that was kind of laid on my heart last week about how, as we are shifting into a month of having to be socially distant, are we or have we been socially distant from God? And I think that begins first in a space of prayer, right? And it's understanding prayer and what prayer is. And I'm not a guru in this. This is something that I've grown in and I'm growing in, and I'm learning more about prayer each and every day. I'm learning about the power of it. I'm learning how to activate it in my life. But in all of these nuggets and things that I've learned and over my life, I want to be able to share those with you. And I think that it's really important to understand it because we hear consistently, oh, this is the time for us to shut our doors and to become and be in communion with God. And I believe that wholeheartedly. But I do think for us to begin that communion with God, we got to realize and understand how to communicate with God, right? So I want to begin with a key point of communication, and that's prayer, right? Prayer is a really formal way to say, I want to have a conversation with God, right? Like, it's a super formal way to say that. I remember when my aunt told me that years ago when I asked her, because she was such, and she still is, such a prayer warrior. And she said to me, Tanae, it's just a conversation. And I was like, wait a minute. She was like, yeah, just how you talk to me is how you should be talking to God. And she was like, just how you're vulnerable with me is how you should be vulnerable with God. And I said, really? That is all it is? And for me at that moment, I was like, poof. And so I hope for this moment that you are like, poof, right? Like, if you have been thinking, oh my God, prayer is so hard, I don't know how to do it, let me begin with the first nugget. Prayer is conversation. It is That is all it is. It is conversation. It's conversation with God. And in our word, in our Bible, we are drawn to this truth. In Genesis 1, verse 28, the word reads, then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, right? So God, in the beginning, starts a conversation with Adam and Eve. He starts a conversation. He's letting them know what they're supposed to do, what his expectations of them are. This is the beginning of a conversation. This is a beginning conversation with humanity. And then in Matthew chapter 26:39, I mean, there are a lot of different points and moments in the Bible where we see conversation, but I think it's really important to highlight Jesus's conversation with God, right? There are not a lot of times where we know the exact words or the things or perceived exact words that God said or Jesus said. But this one I thought was really important because it says, he went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, oh, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. So Jesus came to a point where he decided, look, I gotta have a conversation with God because I need to figure out what's next, what's supposed to happen, and I need to let you know how I'm feeling and what I'm going through. So it was a conversation. So we have to remember in this journey that prayer is simply conversation. And so that's the first thing that we got to understand. And in understanding that is to also take stock and take reflection of what our conversations look like with other people. How are we feeling? How are we engaging with other people? I've realized sometimes in my own personal journey that sometimes when I've got blockages or I am lacking sometimes in communication with certain people, my prayer life can look a certain type of way. So in this, I want for you to take a moment today and just pause and ask yourself, and maybe this becomes a journal entry. But take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what is communication looking like in my life, with other people, right? Like, am I freely feeling like I can just communicate? Am I freely feeling like I can just speak my mind and speak my thoughts? Or do I feel like there is a blockage? Do I feel like when I talk, people don't hear me? What's going on there? So today, just remember one thing: prayer is conversation, but also consider today, as you meditate throughout the day, what is my conversation looking like with people? Am I okay with having conversation with people? And so those are the things that we're going to take away from today. It is a conversation, and how do I feel like, or what do I feel like when I have conversation with people? Am I excited? Am I willing? So tune in tomorrow for the next nugget on prayer.